Hey everybody, new episode of D&D Quick Shots. My name is Brandon. This is my little bro, Jordan, the prettier one of the two. And we're actually going to go, he is a brand new, never played D&D before individual who we are going to actually go through a full instruction on how to actually build out a character. He's decided he wants to be a Bladesinger. Woo! Now, a Bladesinger, for those who don't actually know, it's basically an elven wizard who also runs a sword pretty heavy, which is pretty fantastic. So we're going to start from scratch as if, you know, you're a new player, anybody else. And
I am.
You are. And we're going to go through building out the entire character concept from start to finish. So we've already got the basic idea. Bladesinger makes things a little easier, because it already is going to be an elven wizard, right? Normally, you have to spend a decent amount of time trying to figure out, okay, what it is I want to do, how I want to do it, so on and so forth. But what did you say you wanted to be originally, though? A mage what?
Battle mage.
Battle mage, yeah. So this is kind of the closest thing to a battle mage that's currently out there. There are other versions, but this one I think is the most realistic. One
thing is I would ask, because I read that it said that you have to be an elf.
Yes.
But there are circumstances where the dungeon master can say, okay, so what would it said to better the campaign, but
sure.
Explain that to me, like what's going on there.
So these are all guidelines. These aren't actual hard rules.
Okay.
A hard rule is going to be something like you have to do this, this, and this. Well, D&D is basically, there are none of those. The DM can do basically anything I want. And so if, you know, I wanted to say, okay, well, maybe you aren't going to be an elf, instead you're going to be a human. And you were raised with the elves, and you're, you know, magically adept, and instead of being the elf, you were the lone human that was raised over there. You can do that. That's how that works.
So it's just all narrative.
It's all narrative. Well, you have different pieces and parts. The different races have a whole lot of different impacts on how your character behaves and does things.
Okay.
But as a whole, it's not really complicated. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go over the character sheet. Pretty simple, okay?
Okay.
So the top half, name, class, background, player name, obviously be you. And then you have your experience points, your race, your alignment, so on and so forth. We'll get into all of these different sections as we go. So a normal character sheet actually has 3 pages. The first page is the primary one you use. The second one is going to be background information, things like that. If you want to, yeah. And then the last one is going to be your spell page, right? So for right now, we're only concerned with page 1 right now. Okay, this is really the only thing that we're actually looking at. So I always like to start with the concept, which you know now, and then go straight into the alignment, because alignment's going to kind of dictate, no, you're good, dictate what, how his behavior is going to be. And if you can start thinking about behaviors, then it helps your other choices later down the road.
Okay.
So he's a Bladesinger. Is he going to be an elf, or do you want to be something different?
No, I'll be an elf.
Okay.
I like elves.
So that's going to be, race is going to be elf then. And then to be a Bladesinger, you're going to be, class is going to be wizard 1. So class is wizard, level is 1 right now. So alignment, right? What were you thinking on things?
Like I said, I like the chaotic good.
Okay.
Just moral. And me, you know, I'm pretty chaotic, so it sounds
right,
good.
Right. Burn down the tavern in order to kill a spider, but you killed a spider.
Killed lots of spiders.
Yeah. Okay, so chaotic good is fun. You know, that's not the so chaotic good still means that you have the best intentions.
Yeah.
Right. The methodology is a little sketchy, but you have the best intentions.
It seems like fun for someone that can throw fireballs around, is what I'm getting at.
Kinda.
Yeah.
All right. So the first step outside of getting those little basic pieces is background. How did this character come to be? What were they before they actually grew up? So did you have a name in mind? You can throw a name in there real quick.
Ooh. Dolphin.
Dolphin. I like it. All right. So backgrounds, we're just going to use the vanilla player's handbook. We're not going to go through all the extra stuff. But there's several different backgrounds, and then you can actually customize if it's something you really wanted to do. We're not going to customize right now. We're just going to start with the basic setup. So basic lineups, there's going to be like an acolyte, which is somebody who is like served in the temple. You're going to have like a charlatan, which is a pretty good one.
I'm a good person.
Right. Then there's the criminal background, entertainment background, folk hero, guild artisan, hermit, nobles, Sage, Outlander.
What's a sage?
A sage is learning lore of the worlds kind of thing. So it's kind of like not quite hermit, but it's kind of in the idea of you do a lot of studying. If you look at specialty, it kind of gives you an idea of exactly what we're talking about. So while you look over these, we're going to pause for a moment, and then we'll be right back into things. So we decided on the sage, which makes a pretty good option overall, I think. So with the sage, you get a couple different things. The first thing we're going to start filling out is we're going to follow the actual steps here.
Okay.
So you spent years learning the lore of the multiverse. You scoured the manuscripts, studied scrolls, listened to the greatest experts on subjects, blah, blah, blah. So your skill proficiencies match that. So Arcana and History. So these little circles following the each ones, you're going to fill in the ones with Arcana, and you're going to fill in History.
The bubbles?
Yep, fill in the bubble. Okay. Now, you get 2 languages of your choice. Now, languages can be all kinds of different things. I think it's actually towards the front of the book. You already automatically get Common, and because you're going to be an elf, you're going to get Elven for a language.
Okay.
For the rest of the languages, it kind of depends on what makes sense for you. So, let me go take a look. I think they're right here. So this is your standard language, and these are exotic languages. Usually I would choose these as a player based on the world. So I would ask the DM questions like, okay, where are we going to be playing? What's the focus going to be? Something like that.
The whole campaign's purpose.
Yes, what's going on, right? What's going on in the world, so that I can assume that, if there's a whole lot of dwarves or something like that, you're a sage, I probably would have dwarven or something.
Yeah, or if you're fighting dragons, you'd want
Draconic, possibly. But, at the same time of things, because you have studied the scrolls and you listen to the greatest experts and blah, 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 you can pretty much choose whatever you want because you could have just studied that. That's how that would have came to be. So what do you feel is a good setup for you? Root beer.
For the world or for the language?
For the 2 languages, you want to speak outside of... You're going to have Elven. You're going to have Common.
So I get to pick 2 or
yep.
1 more?
2 more.
Okay.
All right. We've decided on Abyssal and Celestial. Now, Abyssal actually comes from the Abyss. Now, in the 5e and really all of D&D universes, the Abyss is where demons come from, whereas the 9 hells are where devils come from. So devils and demons are not the exact same thing,
gotcha.
Right? Your abominations and things are going to be from the Abyss, i.e. Abyssal. Celestial, exactly what it sounds like, angels and gods and all that kind of stuff. So what you're going to do, so you have other proficiencies in languages. So just at the top, you're just going to start out with your languages. So you're going to have Abyssal, and then you're going to have your Celestial, Common, Elvish. All right, so then the next thing you get is going to be your equipment, right? So under the equipment tab right here, where it says equipment, you're going to have a bottle of black ink. So that's all gold stuff. You just write it over here.
So bottle black.
I would just put ink. Yeah. Ink, quill.
Next line is quill.
Yep. A small knife. A letter from a dead colleague posing a question you've not been able to answer. So just put letter.
Letter of interest.
Yeah. Common clothes. And then a pouch containing 10 gold. So this, you're not right there. So you have copper, silver, electrum, gold, platinum. So gold 10. Is right there. So you're going to put 10 there. You got it. And then a specialty. So you can actually roll a d8 and choose the specialty that way, or you can just pick which ones you want. Now, being that you're going to be a wizard's apprentice makes a lot of sense. You could be a discredited academic and then you've switched over. I don't know. So it's kind of anything that you want to do. What stands out to you for what you got going? Now, you could also be an astronomer because you got the celestial language, you got the abyssal,
That's kind of what I was going for.
It's kind of cool.
That's what I was going for.
Okay, so you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that specialty, all that kind of stuff, that's not really at any kind of crazy spot. I usually would end up writing it over here in features and traits and just writing it in, as kind of the generic concept. Now, you could also, for background, you could put Sage-Astronomer as well if you wanted to. It's kind of whichever way. There's not really a space for the specialties there. Now, you get a feat, which is this right here, which is called Researcher. So under feats and traits, so your feat is going to be, you can attempt to learn or recall a piece of lore you don't automatically know. Using this information comes from a library, blah, blah, blah. So what I would do is just feat in Researcher, and I would just write down Researcher. And what that means is that whenever there's something that's out there that you're like, you know what, I might have knowledge of that, and you can ask the DM, hey, can I use my feat to understand this information? Yeah. So the next thing is personality, ideal, bond, and flaw. These are kind of your overall concepts for how your character behaves. Now, some of these are already built into the system, like these ideals are going to be your neutral, your chaotic, your evils, all that kind of stuff. You can either choose them or you can actually just roll for them. Okay. It's 100% up to you. It's how you want your character to kind of behave. So once again, we're going to pause, let you read over these, and then we'll jump back in. All right. Decision was made. We are going to roll for them. So go ahead and roll. First, you're going to roll the D8 for your personality trait. So roll it in the box. Now, that's your 8 right there. So dice 8-sided. Yep.
Okay. And whatever number I get is what I'm getting.
What your personality trait is.
Sounds like fun.
1, I use polysyllabic words to convey the impression of great erudition. So you're going to write that under personality traits, right?
So I'm a dick.
Well, you just try to use big words to prove that you're smart.
Big words. Got it.
Mm-hmm. So next up is going to be a D6 for your ideal. So there's a lot of options. Let's see what you end up getting. 4. No limits. Nothing could fetter the infinite possibility inherent in all existence. Chaotic.
So...
No limits. Now you'd put that under ideals.
Oh, my bad.
You're good. All right. So next up is going to be bond. So a D6 once again. Boom. 4 again. My life's work is a series of tombs related to a specific field of lore. So
book lover.
You're doing a lot of research to try to figure something out.
So books and tomes.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And then the last one is your flaw. This is how you are a dick. So let's find out.
Oh boy. Does it say anything about pooping in public places?
Nope.
Okay,
unfortunately not. 6. I can't keep a secret to save my life or anybody else's.
So, can't keep secrets.
Can't keep a secret. All right. So, generally speaking, that would be the first couple steps, depending on what you're actually doing. So now we've got your race, we've got your class, and we've got your background. Now, we're going to actually start filling in the pieces of the race now. So you decide to be on elf, right?
Mm-hmm.
So beginning of the book back here is all the different races. So tiefling, half elves, dracon. Here we go. Let's see, human, dwarf, elf. All right. So this gives you the full breakdown of a elf and kind of the backgrounds and where they came from and things like that. If you want to know the lore side of it. So really the biggest thing, you have your names, you have all your different pieces. We start jumping into traits though. When you're building a character, all of the background is great. We're actually wanting the traits. So the first elf trait is dexterity is increased by 2. Okay, so what I always do before I get to rolling my stats, put a +2 up here in the corner of dexterity. So just so that you remember to add that in there later. Age. So age, you can be somewhere in the name from 100 to 750 on average. So that's usually left under appearance up here. Okay. So age, how old do you want to have this elf? Because, you know, obviously you're starting out on lower levels. You're going to be starting at level 1. So I would say, you know, a common setup would be, you know, maturity hits 100, probably on the lower end of like
we'll
the 200.
Say 102.
102, I like it. So alignment, we already got. Size, elves range from under 5 to over 6 feet tall, and your size is medium. So height, how high, big do you want to be?
6'5".
I like it. So you're tall and lanky.
Yeah.
Weight, and go ahead and fill that out while you're there.
Let's just say 160.
Damn, real tall and lanky.
Yeah.
What color hair? What color eyes? What color skin?
Hair. Start with eyes. We'll do orange.
Orange eyes.
It's my favorite color. Skin will do like a goldish.
Okay, so he's probably gonna be like a high elf.
Sure. And hair, we'll just put ashen.
Okay. So you got that. Speed, base walking speed. So right here, it's 30 feet. So, you know, it's pretty decent there.
30 feet?
30 feet, yeah. So that's basically how far you can move it around. Dark vision is one of their skills, their feats or traits, abilities. You're going to put that there. So you have dark vision, which means that you can see basically dim light as if it were bright light up to 60 feet out. Now, if you're still in pitch black, you don't see anything because it's still pitch black. But, you know, dusk and all that kind of stuff, you can see if it's bright light. Keen senses, you have proficiency in the perception skill. So over here, you're now got perception. Okay. And it says, Fey ancestry, you have an advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put you to sleep. So what I would do on that one, okay, so you have a saving throw over here. Sometimes you'll put in there that when you're making a save, you'll put in there like Fey ancestry, so you'll remember it. Or you can put it over in your feature and trait. So technically it's a trait, so it'd go here. So Fey ancestry, and then, you know, it's just advantage versus charm is what I would put. There you go. And then trance, elves don't sleep, instead they meditate. So on that I would just put trance. So after resting and meditating for up to 4 hours, you get the same benefit as a long rest, which is 8 hours.
Okay.
So that's pretty slick. Languages, Common Elvish, we already know that. Subrace. So elves are broken down into high elf, wood elves, and dark elves. So if you have goldish skin, that's probably going to be in the high elf.
Probably.
Now, what that does is that increases your intelligence by 1, and then it also gives you proficiency with longsword, short sword, short bow, longbow. You know, that's probably the better of the options. Now, wizards, their ability score is really one of those things that plays into it. I would probably go with the intelligence +1 on that one.
Yeah, sounds like my character.
So
I would put +1.
+1 there on an intel, yep. And then elf weapon training, so proficiencies down here again. Long sword, short bow, longbow. And then it says cantrip, you know, 1 cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list.
Okay.
So what I would do is just pop over here to cantrip and just write down here right now, just press +1, just type that in there because we'll get to the spells another time right now. Okay. And then extra language, you can write 1 extra language of your choice. So we'll pop back over here to languages real quick. There you go. What do you think?
We'll go ahead and add infernal.
Infernals, now devils as well. All right. So just a second here. All right, so that takes care of all of the pieces there. So now we're going to jump over to your class, which is wizard. Right, so wizards are towards the end of the book here. So there's different schools and things. We're not going to worry too much about that one. Now, wizards, even though you're battle mage, you're still squishy AF.
Gotcha.
Right? You're going to rely on a lot of other things to keep yourself from getting hit. So the first thing you're going to be looking at is the hit dice themselves, which is 1d6 per wizard level. So that means is that when you go to heal, you would roll a d6, and also your how much you can increase your health by each level is based on the d6. So you're right now, when we actually get there, your total health is going to be based on a d6 plus whatever your constitution modifier is. So it's going to be kind of crappy right now, which is totally fine. So under hit dice over here, you're going to just you're going to write in 1d6 right now up here total. Yep. So that takes care of that. So hit points at first level, 6 plus con, which we'll get to that in a minute. And then each level past that. So proficiencies, armor, none.
Okay.
You get no armor right now. Weapons, daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaff, light crossbows. So add those to your other proficiencies here.
Lots and lots of different things. Daggers, dart, slings, quarterstaff, light crossbow.
Okay.
Okay, and then tools, none.
Okay.
Saving throws, intelligence and wisdom. So over here, you're gonna under your saves, intelligence and wisdom. You're gonna highlight those there. There we go. Now you get 2 more skills from Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, Religion. Now you've already got History and you've already got Arcana. So insight is going to be able to be like seeing things that are hidden. If somebody is actually lying to you, you do an insight check on them.
Okay.
Investigation is looking around a room, trying to find information, things like that. Medicine is exactly what it sounds like, and then religion is exactly what it sounds like. In my opinion, if you're going to be a wizard with a sage background, investigation is probably going to be one of your big ones, trying to find information however you can. Insight's probably not a terrible one either. It kind of gives you the background information to people.
Okay.
So those would be the two I would probably lean towards. But you could do it, whichever way you want. That would be the two that make the most sense to
I
me.
mean, that's kind of what I was thinking in my head. Either maybe switching one out for medicine.
Medicine's not as heavily utilized whenever it comes to skill checks. It can be. But it's one of those things is like if somebody is poisoned, you're going to be able to do a medicine check, or you can do a nature check, or you can do a perception check, or there's all kinds of different checks you can run.
Well, I'll just stick with the insight and investigation.
Well, it's not that it's bad. It's just it's a very situational thing.
Niche.
If you're a healer of some kind, perfect. Absolutely, it makes sense.
Okay.
Blade singing, you're more
Gotcha.
You're worried about inflicting wounds rather than finding out how those wounds are inflicted.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking to heal my squishy self, but
That is not going to help you.
okay. So insight and investigation. Where do I put those?
Right here, you're going to insight and investigation.
Okay.
Okay. So then the next piece here, we're going to flip the page. Your starting equipment here. So you're automatically going to start under where it says attacks and spell casting. This is your equipment would normally go here. We're going to put it here for a second.
Okay.
So a quarterstaff or a dagger. What would you prefer?
Probably the quarterstaff. But you said
Okay.
right here.
Yeah. So it's actually the weapon goes here. So the weapon will be quarterstaff. You can press Q staff or whatever you want. So a component pouch or an arcane focus. So let me explain what a wizard and how spells are cast. So you need components of some kind normally if you're going to cast a spell. So more druidic side of things, you're going to be using components like you're using animal bones or something cool to cast a spell. Or you have a focus, which would be like a talisman, a charm. Maybe there's a light on the end of the quarterstaff that you got. Maybe you got a certain sigil or something. It's going to be something that directs your energy through to cast your spells.
Okay.
Or you can have the components. Now, wizards traditionally are more component based because they have learned their knowledge, but it's really just flair, whichever way you want to do it, and kind of how you want to roleplay your character.
We'll do the components then.
Okay, so you're going to put component pouch down there.
Right here in the.
Yep. Well, no, that's not going to be. This is for weapons.
Okay, that's what I was.
It'll be down here in the equipment. And then after you got the component pouch, you're going to have a scholar's pack or an explorer's pack. So under equipment, which I'm pulling up right now, you have different packs that have different things in them. So where are we? Equipment packs here. So an explorer's pack is going to be backpack, bedroll, mess kit, tinderbox, torches, blah, 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 blah. Or the Scholar's Pack is Book of Lore, bottle of ink, ink pen, 10 sheets of parchment, sand, small knife. You already have most everything that's in. Yeah, you already have most everything that's there. So just type in Explorer's Pack and you got that. Okay. So now we'll jump into the actual how spells and things are actually done in just a second. We're not going to worry about that yet.
Okay.
Because we've got your focus. You already know that. So you're going to have a feat called Arcane Recovery. So you can once a day after a short rest, you can choose expended cell slots to recover. So just type out right over here, Arcane Recovery. Okay. And then the next step, the last piece of this is going to be rolling your ability scores. Now, ability scores, this is your bread and butter. This is where it's going to come down, okay? So it's 4d6, and we're going to drop the lowest number, and it's going to give us a number, obviously, from 3 to 18. Okay. So that's going to be the first piece of things. So you're just going to roll all 4 real quick, and then we're going to keep track. We're going to do it 6 times. Some people do the 7 times, and they drop their lowest score. I'm not a big fan of that.
Okay.
So you're going to roll all that real quick. So we're going once. So we got a 5, 5, a 3, and a 1. So you actually got a 13. So just here in the margin real quick, just write 13 in this margin right now. And then we're going to roll again. Nice! 6, 6, 6, 3. That's 18. That's a good one. That's as best as you can get. So 5, 5, 4, that's a 14. That's super solid. Your 10 is your average, so you're above average so far on every roll, which is great.
That's what she said.
Hey. Ooh, and then we get an 8. So 5, 1, 2, 1. So that's an 8. It's okay. I like gimpy stats. 5, 5, 1. That's an 11. And then your last roll, make it a good one.
Oh, please, Odin.
Boom, 5, 4, 4. That's going to be a 13 again. All right, so these are your stats now. Refresh 13, 18, 14, 8, 11, 13.
Put in these columns?
You'll put those in those columns, but we'll get to it in just a half second. So let's explain where things go and why. Okay. Dexterity for a squishy guy like you, because you don't have any armor, dexterity actually plays into your armor class. Okay, so armor class is how hard it's to hit you.
Can I pick which number goes in here?
Yeah,
so what you're saying is I want to put the 18 in dexterity.
Well, it depends. Dex is going to be the ability for using certain weapons. Strength will be certain other weapons, but then your primary thing is you're going to be a spellcaster primarily. Intelligence is your actual a modifier to cast spells, right?
Okay.
So are you going to try to, 100% focus on avoiding getting hit, or do you want to focus mainly on dealing damage? In my opinion, because your hit points are so low, you need to be a glass cannon, hit as hard as you possibly can so that nobody really, attacks you in the first place. You shouldn't be so close early on that you need it. I would probably max out intelligence first as a spellcaster.
So I'm going to put the 18 to my intelligence, which has a +1.
So you're going to be a 19. So put a 19 down in the small box. And I'll explain all of that in a second.
It's not a box.
Circle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So then you go ahead and mark your 18 out. So then your next most important stat, right? What do you think that's going to be for you? I mean, in my opinion, it would probably be dexterity or constitution out of that 14. Your dexterity, you already get a 2, +2. So every 2 points is your next number. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
Gotcha.
So it's +1 at a 12, +2 at a 14, +3 at a 16, so on and so forth, right?
Okay.
So if I was going to be looking here at Dex, you get a +2. So right now, if you did the 14, you'd have a +3 overall for stats, and we'll get into that later. Whereas at a 13, it'd be a +2. So I would probably up my Dex, because you're going to need that for more things.
So right, 16 in?
Yep. All right, so now con would be the next most important thing. That's your health, that's your hit points, that's your 13.
One of them.
And then strength versus wisdom for that other 13. Strength, how often are you going to be using a weapon that needs strength versus needs dex, right? I would probably say you'd focus on dex weapons more and not run strength-based concepts.
Okay, so I put 13 on wisdom.
You could, for sure. Now, these stats over here, which we'll get into in a brief second, they tell you what, like, see how it says whiz or investigation is intelligence and all of that. It tells you what those little stats play to. So I always try to play the strengths first. So you have an intelligence 1, you have an intelligence done, you have a wisdom 1, you have an intelligence 1, and then you have a wisdom 1. I would probably put the 13 in wisdom.
That's what I was going for.
Now, you have an 8 and you have an 11.
I'm going to put 11 in charisma.
And then you're just going to be a weakling?
Yep.
I like it. All right. So then now what you're going to do is you've got your numbers, right? So now you're going to have your modifiers here.
Okay.
So 8 is actually a -1 modifier. So if I told you to roll a d20 and you got a 4, you would now have a 3 because it's a -1 modifier for strength.
That's no bueno.
So -1.
Just right here?
Yep, big -1. There you go. Dex is a 16, so it's in every 2. So +1 is 12, +2 is 14. So that'd be a +3 at 16. 13 would be a +1. 19 would be a +4. 13 is going to be a +1. And then it's going to be a +0. Okay. So now when you were to roll an attack or something, you're going to be doing that plus those numbers. Now, we'll get to all of those in just a half second. I always fill in these stats now. So you just carry over. So strength will be a +1. Dex is going to be that. But you have a proficiency bonus, right?
Okay.
So a proficiency bonus at the beginning of all of these, you have this little column here. So right now you have a proficiency bonus of +2. Okay,
so I'll write that in there?
Yeah, right there. So that means that if you have the circle filled in, you're going to add +2 on top of the numbers you already got. So your strength will be -1, dex will be +3, Con will be +1. Now you're going to be +6 for an intelligence saving throw.
Okay.
You see that? And then now you're going to be a +3 for a wisdom saving throw and still 0 for that. So write those in that little line there.
So
See this number here?
so just write that all in here.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that one will be that one. And then that's going to be a +6.
Oh, +6. That's right.
Yep. And then that one will be a +3 now. And then +0. Now on these lines, you're going to do the same kind of thing. You're going to run down the list and just look at the attribute that's actually there and then carry that over. So Dex for you is going to be a +3. So your acrobatics is a +3. Animal handling wisdom is going to be +1. Arcana with intelligence is going to be 4, but you're proficient. So
so I got a 6.
Yep. So another 6 there.
Strength -1.
Yep. So your athletics kind of sucks.
Deception.
Charisma. And then history, intelligence. There you go. But yep. There you go.
+4.
3.
3. 0.
Yep. Investigation, intelligence. So it'll be +6 again. That'd be a +4 on this one because you're not proficient.
Oh, okay.
No. Your wisdom is +1. I meant the nature.
Oh, wait, so which one? Investigation's what?
So wisdom is only +1 because you're not proficient in medicine.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
And
saying.
then nature is going to be intelligence +4 rather than +6 because you're not.
Okay. And then this one would still be +3.
Yeah, that'd be a +3 now.
0, 0, and then religion I'm not proficient in, so that'd just be a +4.
Yep.
Dexterity +3.
Mm-hmm. +3, and then wisdom +1. All right, so now you have a skill down here called passive wisdom, right? So passive perception is what it is.
Okay.
So what that actually means is it's an automatic 10 plus whatever your modifier is. So it's just how readily you notice something when you're like walking down a road or something. So if I say to see this thing over here, you need a 15, passive wisdom check or whatever. That means that if you have an 11, you wouldn't see it. So on yours, it's going to be 10 plus 1 to get your passive perception there.
So 11.
Yep.
I'm a dumb bitch.
No, not really. So now we got hit point, right? So
Oh, boy.
your constitution up here, so your hit point max. So for your first level under your wizard stuff is 6 plus your constitution modifier. So your constitution modifier is a +1.
So I've got 7 hit points.
Yes.
I put that right here.
You're going to be
current
up
max.
top. So you're going to put that for the max, and then your current, this is your kind of running tally. So initiative over here.
Okay.
Initiative is your dexterity modifier. It's how quickly you react to danger.
So +3.
Yes, correct. Now, armor class, when
None.
you're... What's that?
None.
Well, you don't have any armor, so I believe it's going to be like 10 plus whatever your dex is. So I think it'd be a 13, but it might be an 8 plus. I got to remember. Because I never run a creature without armor. Unarmored defense AC 5e. Base AC 10 plus dex.
So 13.
Yeah. So not great, not bad. That means for a creature to hit you, if he rolls a 12, he misses you. A 13, he hits you. It's
Okay.
if you hit it, you meet. If you meet it, you exceed it, you hit it. Does that make sense?
Like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Sure, let's go with that. All right, so the last piece of things here is how many spells you end up getting, right? So you're going to flip over to your spell book page now. Now, wizards actually use a spell book, okay? So what that means is that you can actually learn any spell that you find by copying into your spell book, and there's rules regarding how to do that, okay? So if you find a scroll, you can attempt to copy it into your spell
Transcribe
book.
it into the book.
And then once you actually have so many spells in there, whatever, you can prepare X many spells based on whatever your stats are, okay? So, great example here. So first we're going to start at the top half, right? So your spell casting class is Wizard. Okay, so your spell casting ability modifier is Intelligence, so INT. And then your save DC is going to be 8 plus your ability modifier and your proficiency bonus. So what was your intelligence?
It is, where'd it go? 19.
No, the actual modifier number.
Oh, +4.
Okay, so you're going to be 8 plus 4 plus 2. So you're actually going to be a 14 for the spell save DC. Not bad. So your attack modifier is proficiency plus intelligence modifier. So it's going to be +2 +4. So it's going to be +6. Okay. So if you were to attack somebody and it said, okay, you know, you're going to be your spellcasting modifier, you know, to hit or whatever.
Okay.
Whatever you roll, so I rolled a 13. To hit would actually be a 19 because you have 13 + 6 to hit.
Okay.
Okay, so that's actually your skill to determine if you've actually hit somebody, which is pretty slick.
So that just adds automatically onto every roll I do for casting spells.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah. So spell slots per level are not the same thing as spells known per level. Okay. So cantrips known, you actually get to know 3 cantrips from the get-go, but you have a +1. So I would write 4 up here. So that's how many cantrips you've actually got.
You wrote that +1 right here earlier.
Yeah, so you can just erase that now. And then your spell slots, how many spells you can cast. At first level, you can cast 2 first level spells. Now, that doesn't mean how many you can know. So you just get to cast 2 spells, you know, and that's at that level.
Okay.
Or if you had, like, let's say you had 5 slots here and 3 slots here and 2 slots here, right? Okay. You can use one of these higher slots to cast a lower level spell. So if you run out of first level spots, you could use a second, third level, fourth level slot. But, you know, it changes how the spells work. So we'll jump into all of that another day.
Sounds fun.
It's not hard. So how many spells you actually know from the get-go, though, is a different thing. That's going to be based on first of what your actual skills here are. So give me a second. Let me go look back over this here. I believe it's going to be based on your intelligence modifier. Let me see here. Focus, each time you cast another. Okay, each time you gain a level, you can add 2 wizard spells of your choice to your spellbook for free, which is pretty slick. And then you have a spell book containing 6 first level wizard spells of your choice. So right now you're going to have 6 actual spells. So what I would do is just write 6 spells right now up here. Chirp, 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 chirp. Wife has chickens, if you can't tell.
Where do I write the 6?
I would just write 6 spells up here right now. Okay, so what you would do now is you would actually pop back here. This is the entire spell system here. And it gives all the breakdowns of how spells work and everything like that. But then each class has a list of spells. So wizard spells are all of these. Okay. So this is a list of the spells that can go in each of those sections. So your wizard cantrips are going to be these here. First level, second level, third level, fourth level, whatever. Right now, you can put 6 of the first level spells here, and you can do 4 cantrips here. So we're going to go ahead and pause on things, and then we will pick up after you've kind of decided your spells.
Okay. Welcome back.
All right, so we have chosen out all of the spells that we're going to do. Now I'm going to let you tell out the spells that you end up picking up and why you think that was a good option.
So we went with shield because I'm squishy.
Fair.
It added some great defense for someone rolling. He rolled a 17, just an example, and my my armor is only a 13, so the shield ended up protecting me from that.
Perfect.
Chromatic orb sounded fun. Rainbow lights that damage people in different ways. Just
fair. Fun
magic. Detect magic because as a wizard, I'd like to be able to know if something's mad, like, you know, Gandalf walking into Doggledore. Identify in case I see some kind of sword I want to touch, and I'd be like, don't touch that cursed item, bro. Mage Armor because I'm squishy AF, and Witch Bolt because it damages people like crazy, apparently.
Continually, over time, yeah. So then cantrips, Prestidigitation, Firebolt, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion.
Oh yeah, I forgot those ones.
No, you're good. Prestidigitation's pretty slick. It's kind of a catch-all for basic wizard spells. It's kind of a must-have. Minor Illusion, super fun. Mage Hand itself is always, you know, great to be able to pick things up without having to walk. It's the lazy man spell. And then Firebolt is just your free tag continually of hitting people. So overall, that's the basic setup for building a character. Now, obviously, going forward, you would actually have to learn the actual steps for playing. Yeah. But now that you have a character, we forgot to give you your stats for your quarterstaff. So quarterstaff. So we're going to jump over there real quick while we're thinking about it, because somebody would have been like, hey, you didn't give him his stuff. All right, so weapons. So quarterstaff actually is what we call a simple weapon. So it does 1d6 bludgeoning, and then it's versatile, right? So this one is going to be using your strength modifier. So your attack bonus is going to be that.
-1.
Now, you are proficient in it, so you're going to get the proficiency bonus mixed in there.
Okay.
So your attack on it's going to be a +1 instead, right? Because it's -1 +2.
So
attack bonus. Yep.
Okay.
And then damage.
Bludgeoning.
Yep, it's going to be damage itself is going to be 1d6 -1.
That's why, right?
Yep.
1d6 -1.
And then bludgeoning, just put B. Yeah. So certain creatures, bludgeoning works for them better. A piercing object on a skeleton, anything. Bludgeoning object, way better on a skeleton.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Make him a pile of bones as opposed to stabbing his emptiness.
You got it. So when you're actually running versatile, though, so if you use 2 hands on it, you'll actually make it a D8. It said 1d8. See how it says this versatile here?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1d6 or 1d8, whichever one you prefer there.
I'll put 1d8V in parentheses.
Yeah, so when you're actually doing combat and all the other stuff here, under the attack rolls, it tells you how everything works, how your range attack works, how your melee attack works, and all this. This is where you would actually go through and get a feel for how everything does work. So for now, we're not going to worry too much about that. But that's the start to finish for basically how you create a character. Like I said, you start out with understanding what your concept is. If you don't have a concept, then you're not really building anything at that point. Next to that, you're going to find out what your alignment you really want it to be with a background. Those can kind of be done in either order. Once you have the concept, either one of those can be done in any order. Then you jump into race and then jump into the class after those two. Then roll your ability scores. Don't roll your ability scores first. And the reason I say that, it's better to have a fleshed out character with a little bit more idea of what you want. Add the ability scores in there after, so you can know, okay, I know I want to be strong. I know I want to be this. I know I want to try and attack here. Whatever. It gives you just a better way to actually build all of that. But yeah, so you built a character. What do you think?
Dolfrund is he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
he's a cool guy. He's real tall, real lanky. You can't miss him.
Fair enough.
He's always down there at the market, casting chromatic orbs on random passerbys.
Random passerbys? Probably not a great idea.
It's his chaotic good. He's doing it until he hits a bad guy.
Right.
I mean, chances are he'll get one eventually.
All right, guys. Well, that is the end of the character creation aspect of this episode. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Nat 20 right there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that roll. Yeah, Nat 20 from the get-go, obviously. But thank you very much for watching. And then, again, like and subscribe. Bye.
Have a good one.